Hi, this is Robin Heppel, and welcome to funeralfuturisttips.com. I don't know if you've heard of me before, but what I do is help funeral home owners and managers like you bring marketing and strategy together, plus the power of the internet to get your business more calls. I've been a licensed funeral director for over 20 years. I have over 10 years experience with funeral home websites, plus 15 years experience with pre-need sales. And with all of that knowledge and all the things that I've seen, I'm sure that funeralfuturisttips.com can help you out. There's not going to be a ton of sales pitches here, although I wish that our companies could work together, but what I'm going to do is deliver you great tips that I've learned about marketing and strategy and the internet. And you'll get a lot of my insights and strategies purely for free just by subscribing to the Funeral Futurist Tips newsletter. But instead of just giving you a whole bunch of promises and pitches, and just to show you that I don't hold anything back, I'm going to give you one of the greatest discoveries that I've made over the last couple of years that I think can really help you out and help you against your competition. The thing is, I'm human too, and I make mistakes, and I made a mistake, but I'm going to show you the mistake I made and also the benefit that you can get from that. Let's talk about funeral prices and funeral costs. You see, I'm a funeral director, a fourth generation funeral director, and we're always thinking of prices. And I've been helping my clients with marketing their companies about funeral prices. And I was working with Mike Gill from Brady Gill Funeral Home just outside of Chicago because you know what? When I'm trying to work some of these strategies out, I try to go for the biggest markets. And I thought that Chicago would be a pretty big market to test my theory. And what we were doing here is trying to get the top listings for a specific search term in a very competitive market. And what we did was we wanted to get the search term Chicago funeral prices. And as you can see from the slide, there are 6 million results for Chicago funeral prices. And with the work that I did with Mike, not only did we get his map listing to be #1, even though he's not in the main part of Chicago, by the use of online video, we got his Chicago funeral prices video #1. I thought that was pretty cool, and so did Mike, and Mike's actually received some calls from that. It was about a year later when I was doing some more testing, because I test all the time. If I'm going to be telling you things, I want to make sure that you know that you're getting the most relevant information and the most up-to-date. And when I did a couple tests, I noticed that people were actually searching for costs more than they were searching for prices. Let's zoom in. When we compare the search terms for funeral cost or funeral costs versus funeral price or funeral prices, there's almost 2.5 times more searches for funeral costs versus funeral prices. I was thinking like a funeral director, thinking price. Families think, how much is that funeral going to cost? So then when we type in the term Chicago funeral costs, there are only 2.4 million searches. So when we look at these two metrics together, there's 2.5 times more searches for funeral costs, and there's almost 2.5 less times results for that term. That's a big opportunity for you to capitalize on this tip in your market. So you might be wondering, well, Rob, so what? Thanks for the information, but what do I do? Well, here's what you can do with that information. You can use this Funeral Futurist tip to steal online price shoppers from your competitors. And this is all that you have to do. You can create a short video answering this question. How much does a funeral cost? You title it Funeral Costs in Your Town, so Funeral Costs Chicago, and you upload this video to YouTube and the other video sharing sites. Now you always want to make sure that your website or your web page in the beginning of the video description uses the http:// before the www, just like in our example here, http:// You see, there's going to be a couple things happening here. You create the short little video. It doesn't have to be a full production video. It can just be 3 or 4 PowerPoint slides just like this video is, and you answer this one question. Because people are searching for funeral costs. Your competitor is thinking funeral prices. And this is just a way that you can educate your consumers to choose your funeral home over theirs. And to make this as easy as possible for you, what I'm going to do is, as soon as you sign up for the Funeral Futurist Tips newsletter, I'm going to send you out my worksheet on how to properly upload a video to YouTube and the other video sharing websites. Because in the big picture, this is all about getting you more calls. And by signing up for Funeral Futurist Tips, I'm going to give you helpful information about funeral home websites, about using social media like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, internet marketing strategies including pay-per-click such as Google AdWords, and basically bringing your strategy and marketing together. So what I want you to do now is fill out the contact information, and I will immediately send you some great information on how you can separate yourselves from your competition. Thank you for your time. This is Robin Heppel.